Corktown, Detroit. So you want to know more information about Corktown, Detroit. You want to learn a little bit about the food, some of the attractions, its history, and a little bit about its current real estate market. Well, this video will give you all of that starting right now. So thanks for tuning in to today's video. For more videos just like this, please hit subscribe and tap for notifications. Whether you're thinking about moving to Corktown, to Detroit, to Metro Detroit, or you're already from the area and you just want to learn a little bit more about Corktown, this video is for you. We're going to talk a little bit about the food, a little bit about the restaurants, a little bit about the bars, the history, and everything that Corktown has to offer. And we're also going to dive a little bit into the current market as to what the real estate market has for you. If you're into these types of videos, please hit subscribe and tap for notifications. We get calls, texts, and emails from people all over the world that are thinking about moving to the area, and we're happy to help you out. So if that is you, please feel free to reach out at any time. There is a link to a Zoom. We can do a consultation with you at any time if you're thinking about moving to the area. So jumping right into Corktown. Corktown is the oldest area in the city of Detroit. It actually dates back to the 1800s. It's been there for a very, very long time. It's known back in the day for its actually immigrant population, a lot of them from Ireland, and many of them actually came from County Cork. That's where it got its name. A lot of the immigrants actually came from County Cork, so that's where it got its name, Corktown, because of that, which was an Irish immigrant migration to Corktown, as well as some other people from different parts of the world. The boundaries of Corktown are really I-75 on the north side to the Lodge Freeway on the east, and then Bagley and Porter on the south side, all the way to Rosa Parks on the west side. So Michigan Ave runs right through the middle of it. That's one of the major areas and major streets. It used to be home to Tiger Stadium, which was torn down a few years ago. There's now new development in that area with a cool little baseball diamond and sports facility and stuff like that. Corktown is a very, very cool area. That's why I wanted to talk about it. Again, dating back to the 1840s. It's even known for currently its brick road. So Michigan Ave is actually old red brick that runs right through town there. So it's just a very, very interesting part of Detroit. It's the oldest part of Detroit, so there's a crazy amount of history, and there's just lots of development and lots of changes happening in that area. One reason for these changes are the train station. Michigan Central Station actually was developed in 1914, so way back in the early 1900s, and ran active all the way through 1988. So a lot of people that are from Southeast Michigan, that are from Detroit, that just their family's been here for a while, more often than not, they actually came in via train through that train station. So in Detroit, I almost imagine the train station back in the day of being like, you know, getting into, you know, New York City if you came from overseas, right? But, you know, Detroit was your second destination. So a lot of people wanted to move here. There was the auto boom at some point, right? And so a lot of people came through the train station, which is one of the reasons why Corktown's so unique, right? You get off the train, you just have, you know, this part of town that's been there for a very, very long time. At the time of its construction, the train station was actually the tallest kind of its form when they built it. Detroit has a lot of those records in the early 1900s because there was so much money here and so many things going on at that time that a lot of people were moving here. So that history is very, very rich, and there's a lot of very cool buildings because of that, because they really had kind of unlimited budgets to build a lot of that. During the 1940s, there was actually over 4,000 people coming in and out of the train station and over 3,000 people working out of the train station itself. So it's a very, very impressive building. When you come over 75 or you come into the city from 96, you can check out my other video about how to get to and from the city of Detroit. But I-75 and I-96 are two of the big expressways that go in and out of the city, and you can see the train station in the distance from both of them. So again, the train station actually shut down in 1988. But recently they're reopening it and revamping the entire thing. So Ford Motor Company purchased it. That's one of the reasons why Corktown is changing so fast. It's a very, very cool building. It's finally lit up. It's so impressive pulling into the city. It's one of my favorite buildings is the train station in Corktown. The way that it sits, there's a huge amount of landscaping around it, and there's just lots and lots of development happening in Corktown. There's going to be lots of Ford Motor Company employees working out of there, and I mean, the building itself is just insanely impressive. I can't wait till it's complete because I really want to get inside and see what it was like back in the day to, you know, arrive into Detroit, as that's where a lot of us locals, you know, that's where a lot of our families came from. Next up is the real estate market in Corktown. So like I said, Corktown has just a variety of different options. There's a lot of homes there that date back to the 1800s. So sometimes you'll have a listing or you'll go show a property there, and it very well could be one of the oldest, if not the oldest, houses in the city of Detroit. So there's a lot of old Victorian homes, a lot of old historic homes that have just very, very cool features if you're into that stuff. But again, since Corktown is changing so fast, there's also a lot of new construction as well too. There's a lot of townhouse type, city living type spots, right? A lot of those are going for $300 to $400 plus a square foot. So there's been a very big uptick in the real estate market in Corktown. It's a very, very popular area. Some of the high rises themselves have that really, really great loft feel, okay? So like a New York City, a really old city, they've really redone some of the places in Corktown and throughout the city to really give you that loft feel. You know, big open ceilings, you got the huge windows. A lot of them have, you know, the old original floors, original brickwork, all that type of stuff in the loft, so they're really cool spots. Probably my favorite building as far as real estate in Corktown actually was the original Grinnell Brothers Piano Company. It's now the Grinnell Lofts. It's one of the coolest places in the city for me. I think it's absolutely fantastic. There's some really nice high-end places in there because you can get a 2,000 plus square foot loft in that area. Again, you're still $300-400 plus a square foot, but they're really, really cool, rustic, open floor plans, tall ceilings, gigantic windows, because again, it used to be a piano company back in the day. So when they renovated that building and turned it into lofts, they really kept a lot of the historical relevance in that building, and it's really cool. It's at the corner of Michigan and Brooklyn, which is right in the heart of Corktown. It's probably one of the best areas. It's walking distance to everything that Corktown has to offer, which brings me to the last part of this video, the current different restaurants and bars and different attractions in Corktown, at least some of my favorites, I'll put it that way, because there's a host of them. Starting off on that list, one of my favorite spots is Ima. It is big for us Detroiters, in my opinion, if you're into Asian cuisine. They have, you know, noodle dishes and curry dishes and rice dishes and a lot of different options. So Ima has been there for a long time. There's two locations. There's one in Corktown. There's another one in Midtown as well too. And so they're open late. It's fairly affordable for, you know, Detroit food, as there's a lot of high-end food in Detroit. So it's hard to find places that are open late. So I eat at Ima quite a bit as I live in the city. So that's the first one on my list. Number two on my list is a restaurant that, if you're from the Detroit restaurant scene, it's a very interesting restaurant. That restaurant is Decoy. So Decoy, to a lot of the restaurateurs in Detroit, they even refer to it as the mothership. It's been there as one of the original places in Corktown before Corktown really kind of changed and gentrified, so to speak, and changed to where it's at today. There wasn't a lot going on there, and Decoy had really, really good food. Again, that's an Asian theme type restaurant. A few years ago, not to put bad things out there for Detroit, but it was actually broken into, and you know, they didn't really take much. I don't think they took some liquor and some stuff like that, and I think there might have been a fire, maybe. I might be making that part up, but anyway, so it was broken into, and so what they decided at Decoy is to make kind of art out of something negative, and they actually surrounded the entire thing with a giant cage. Okay, it's a giant fence, so to speak, but it looks pretty cool. It was an interesting theme decision to go ahead and move forward with that. But Decoy is known as the mothership. Fantastic food. You know, Corktown is very, very safe. Just to hedge on that a little bit, like, I think it's one of the safest parts of the city, in my opinion. So it's an awesome location for that reason as well too. A couple other spots to note. Mercury Bar is a great burger. You can kind of build your own burger. They have shakes in there as well too, as well as adult shakes. So I really like that spot. Nemo's is kind of that historic dive bar. Okay, they're known for their cheeseburgers as well too. They have for a while it was cash only, for a really long time. I think they take cards now, but it's a kind of a really dive bar type place. It's huge during, you know, games, your Lions games, Red Wings games, that type of stuff. So Nemo's is a very cool spot, as well as obviously the Tigers games as well too. There were a lot of bars in Corktown due to Tiger Stadium used to being there, but since it moved to the other side of town, some of those are still, you know, sports type bars, but a lot of them have changed. There are numerous different bars to also account for in Corktown, so you kind of have this variety. Again, you have these really cool old Detroit places, and then there's a lot of new construction going on too. So there's a little bit of things for everyone. Two of my favorite spots are the Sugar House. They have really good craft cocktails, so if you're looking for a really fancy drink, not a lot of food in there by any means, but they're really good cocktails. So again, great for date night or meeting some friends. Motor City Wine has live music a lot. There's a back patio that we hang out in the summer quite a bit. If you're into wine, Motor City Wine is an awesome location. I mean, there's too many different places to kind of account for in Corktown, as again, there's a lot of different varieties. One of the reasons why Corktown is so hot, why it's selling for $300-400 a square foot and up for the real estate market, is because there's so many things happening in that part of town. It is truly city living, and it's really popping. I mean, there's just a lot of things going on. The interesting note I wanted to mention in this video is another area I'm bullish on is actually the other side of the expressway. So you got to go to the other side of 75, and that is North Corktown. So North Corktown has been a little bit dormant for a lot of years, but because Corktown's getting so popular, they're actually starting to develop over there. The prices are really starting to skyrocket, even for your teardown houses or your lots, or the homes that need a little bit of love. So North Corktown's a great area. I love it. You got really good views of the city and stuff like that too. So that's an interesting note. So thanks so much for tuning into this video about Corktown. If you want more videos about Detroit, about Southeast Michigan, if you want to know more about living in the area, moving to the area, this is the channel for you. Please hit subscribe and tap for notifications. Thanks so much.